right, but President Trump said that that America is going to control Venezuela till the time there is a smooth transition of power. Could this, Professor Sachs, be Trump's Vietnam or Afghanistan moment?
I very much doubt that the United States is going to control anything in this. How can they? This is a big country. They don't want to be a slave of the United States. They don't want to be a vassal of the United States. There are many people who want good relations with the United States. In fact, many people who would be thrilled for the U.S. to take over. A lot of the upper class and a lot of people who have suffered from the economic sanctions, actually, of the United States and from other causes of the economic collapse in Venezuela, would welcome the U.S. But the fact of the matter is there's a lot of opposition to the United States running this country, and I see no prospect for that actually happening. Usually when the United States makes a regime change like this, the result is instability on a prolonged basis. Often quite deep instability, even civil war in some cases, like in Libya, a regime change operation followed by a civil war. This could happen in Venezuela. Often it's coups or assassinations or ongoing economic crisis, but very rarely do you kidnap a president, say we're going to run the country, and that it works out according to this somewhat fantastical idea of Mr. Trump.
The internet is the biggest wealth creation engine to ever exist. Sadly, only a relative few have.
You've already warned that Greenland could be next, but I have to ask you this. What next? Panama, Colombia, Mexico, Greenland. Katie Miller, Stephen Miller's wife, had put out a post with the American flag over the Greenland map, saying soon. And Trump reiterated the same thing. So is Greenland next?
My fear is that Iran is next. Keep an eye on Iran. The reason is that Israel is obsessed with Iran, wants to overthrow the Iranian government and the United States for reasons that are not 100% clear, I have to say, is basically beholden to Israel. The United States fights wars that Israel tells the United States to fight. It's very, very dark, actually. And so when Netanyahu came to Mar-a-Lago last week, just around New Year's, they made a joint statement basically saying, Iran, you're next, or you could be next. And Trump has said that with protests in Iran, if the government cracks down on the protests, we are basically locked and loaded. We're ready to fight. Well, this is clearly a typical deep state provocation. In other words, we're lining up the arguments, the human rights argument. We're going to go in and invade Iran to protect the people of Iran. This is a standard playbook. And so this is where I would expect the possibility of a real global explosion. And I would give a warning. That one will be hotter than Venezuela if it happens. It would be potentially disastrous because while Venezuela is in the American geographic neighborhood and China and Russia don't want to take on the United States in the Western Hemisphere, Iran is in the middle of a lot of major powers, and Iran is itself with hypersonic missiles and a capacity to do a lot of harm and a lot of damage, and Israel is a nuclear-armed country. All in all, it's a recipe for potential disaster, and sound heads should be saying to the United States right now, stop it. This is not a joke. This is not a game. This is not appealing to your base. This is not social media. This is not some play. This is reality, and stop it before things get out of control.
Right.
Trump has threatened Iran, Mexico, Colombia, obviously Venezuela, Denmark, Nigeria in the last couple of weeks. A president of the United States making dire threats against half a dozen other countries. He's also saying that the government of Cuba is about to fall. All of this is just like lighting the fuse all over the place, and things could get really, really dangerous. And so
There were reports-
world leaders need to wake up. You know, it's interesting with the Europeans in panic over the statements about Greenland. They say, don't touch us, but they're so scared, so hypocritical, by the way, that they don't complain about Venezuela, but they say, don't come after us.
Absolutely.
Well, European leaders need to stand up and be real human beings, actually, not just vassals. And they have to say it's not right in Greenland, but it's also not right in Venezuela. It's not right in Iran. They have to stop playing the subservient vassals of the United States.
Or Gaza, for that